we actually grew up not really differentiating who it was. Yeah. However, as time goes on, everybody started moving to various directions, and it started tilting towards as if, my mom was, or let me put it this way, it's not looking as if my dad was more on our side because of my mom. As she was preaching to me, she was perceiving the smell. So she now said, I will not be talking to you again if you are still smoking. So I said, okay. And I said, okay, no problem. So we had a meeting in one of the other local governments in Akwa Ibom State. So I think it was Eket. Yes, Eket. Went to Eket for a meeting. So I just thought, like, after this meeting, no more smoking. So, I think it was not quite long. I think within that same week or the following week, if I'm not mistaken. So she not come for fellowship. After the fellowship, attend the crusade. Then after the crusade, you can now go to your sister's school. I said, fine. And I just went for the fellowship. I think after the fellowship, one guy just came and said, thank God you are still alive. I said, I wanted to talk to you. I just said, thank God you are still alive. As if I've not been hearing, thank God you are still alive. But one of the reasons why I said I was never going to join anything first. I love DSS. I love NIA, Nigerian Intelligence. I love anything intelligence. But one of the reasons why I said I wasn't going to join anything, the force, was because I did not want that transfer. I wanted to be with my kids all the time, So that was why just anything military, anything that was going to involve transfer. Yes, that's all. Yeah, keep me away from family. Yes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live podcast, Your Safe Space. I'm your host, Messi Jumbo, and with me here is my co-host.
Happy.
All right, we have an amazing person with us today. His name is Mr. Stephen Opofoni. He's a father, a husband to one female wife.
One female wife says.
Yes, he's a husband to one female wife. And he's here with us today. Just grab a cup of coffee, a glass of juice, sit, and enjoy this episode. All right, he's here to tell us more about himself, share his story with us. You're welcome, sir. We are very glad to have you today.
Thank you very much.
So we would love to know more about you. We want you to share your story with us way back as a child, teenagehood, everything you can remember and you want us to know.
Okay. Well, like you all know, my name is Inelayo Stephen Opofoni. Most people know me as Stephen, which is my middle name. Well, I was born in Lagos, Festac Town. Yes. Yeah. I was born in Festac Town, Lagos. I did my primary school education there. Then I moved on to River State, Port Harcourt, where I did my secondary school education. Then from there, I went to Akwa Ibom. I went to Osun Poly, Osun State, first of all, for a year. Then I left. I went to Akwa Ibom State School of Accountancy and Business Studies. Then from there, I came to Kano, spent some years, got married, then went back to school, Federal College of Agricultural Produce Technology, Kano. Did my ND there, did my HND, then went to Woodil, Adostech, did my PGD, and I'm doing my MSc now. That's based on my educational background. Then I'm from a family of father, my mother, then 10 children. My mother has 6. I have 3 elder ones. two boys and a girl. Although I lost one of my younger sisters last year.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Um, that's basically family. Before I come to my home, then talking about my upbringing.
Where are you from, first of all?
I'm from Bayelsa
For
State.
the sake of those who
Wow.
don't know.
Yes, I'm from Bayelsa State. They call it treasure base of the nation, right? Or pride of the nation, whichever one. Yeah, though my name in it, like I had to start using Stevie more often because most times once people hear Inilayo, they just
Yoruba.
Yoruba.
Yeah.
And what made it worse was because I now understood Yoruba. So once they just hear Inilayo, they start speaking Yoruba to me. So it got to a time and when I'm telling them my name is Layo, I will tell them not the Yoruba Layo.
What
So,
does it mean? Sorry.
From the Ijos, okay, the full name is Ayebaye Enilayo, which means God is my portion or God is my share.
I was expecting to hear joy.
Yeah. So that's what it means, my portion or my share. So basically, growing up was quite tough in quote in the sense that yes, we had all we wanted, but basically not having your dad around all the time. He was in customs, so he was always, either every 2 years they transfer him, every 3 years like that. So we didn't really have that,
Connection.
that connection. Being a paramilitary man and a strict disciplinarian for that matter. His come is come, his go is his go. And my mom too, she was also schooling then. So she wasn't always around.
present.
Yeah. So I grew up mostly with my cousins who were there. I know they also grew up in the system. They grew up with my mom. So it was more or less like getting the upbringing from them, though my mom also played a major role too. So that was how the upbringing was, not too nice. Not,
All right, you said that you have 9 siblings, you making 10, right?
Yeah,
And 6 from your mom.
6 from them, yeah.
So
That's
that
it.
means your dad had 2 wives. Is that it?
No, he had one. He actually had children before. Yeah.
Okay.
from my mom.
What was that like? Having many siblings.
Well, it's should I
What was
say
that like?
many siblings? Well, one would say it was nice because we actually grew up not really differentiating who it was. Yeah. However, as time goes on, everybody started moving to various directions and um, it started tilting towards as if, my mom was, or let me put it this way, it's not looking as if my dad was more on our side because of my mom. And that wasn't really the issue because, my dad, despite he was quite strict and he was this kind of person that sometimes you want to ask my dad for something. If I had a book,
Rehearse it first.
yeah, no, you don't rehearse.
Oh, okay.
Whatever I want from my dad, just write it in that book
Wow.
and you give it to him. That was how it was. So we could not really.
You're trying to process it.
After process.
Yeah.
So what is the context? How do you write it?
No, you write, for instance, if you need a book or you need a shoe, you have to write it, Daddy, I need this.
Was it like, dear daddy?
Dear
No.
Daddy.
You don't write Daddy. It's just there.
Wow.
So it's numerical. So in the book, like maybe 40 leaves or 60 leaves, you write how do I call it? Maybe the first person write number one, write the date. I think I'm trying to remember, I think each day has its page. Yeah, so whatever I request, and the reason why he did that was because I think sis was not always around. So he just comes in 2 weeks and goes back 2 weeks.
Okay.
So there was always that tendency of we forgetting certain things.
Okay. Now we get
Yeah,
it. So you
there
put
was
it
that
down.
tendency of we forgetting certain things. So he now felt that the best option was to write them in a book.
Okay.
So that whenever he comes, he sees it. If he's around, we give him the book. He goes out, maybe he goes out to the office. He comes back in the evening because since it was 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, he comes back. So whatever you remember during the day, you want to ask him. You write it in the book.
Okay, I get it now.
You get it now.
I get it
You
now.
write it in the book. So once he comes back, in fact, the book will be on the table
Submit the
waiting
book.
for him. So once he comes back, he opens the book, he reads it, then he asks questions.
Kind of
Now,
makes sense.
my dad was, though it's late, my dad was friendly to us, but I think to an extent we didn't understand him.
Okay.
Yeah, to an extent we didn't understand him. As children, we will grow up then, once your dad is around or once you hear your dad is coming home, everybody aligns,
Composure.
Yes, you put everything in
Composure.
order, you dot the I's, you cross the T's,
Correct.
you just do everything that needs to be done. Because my dad is this kind of person that he won't ask you why. You are flogged.
Yes.
But I think over time he started understanding. I think then he wasn't born again. So by the time he became born again, he started aligning. Certain things started changing over time. So it was. I think my dad never. Let me divert a little bit. My dad never segregated the children. Yeah, he never did
Very
that.
important, really.
He never did that. However, but my dad gave certain instructions, and one of the instructions he gave was, I think, to my elder ones, was that don't go to the village because they schooled in Port Harcourt. So he said, don't go to the village. And my first two siblings, their mom was always based in the village.
Oh,
So he said, don't go.
that'll be quite difficult.
Yeah, and so I think their mom caused a lot of controversies. I had to sit down with him. I was asking him questions. As time went on, I had to ask him questions. Why was this like this? Okay, my siblings, why didn't they further to school? And all that. And he said something. He said, I told them don't go to this place because he said he knew that if they went to their mom, there was that tendency that they will not further. So I think, and my eldest brother was very intelligent, based on what I heard, very intelligent. So immediately him and his younger sister, when that's my elder sister, went. The mother just, because it was just one. So their mother said no, that there was no, that she was going to handle the education. So many things were coming up. Or so many things happened then. So it had to delay their education. Yeah. So he now said he wasn't going again. So it was now left to my elder sister, then my elder brother from another woman too, who died, I think, when she was giving birth to him or something like that. I can't really remember. But I think I was told he never knew his mom. So that means she died at a very, very tender. She died when he was
very young.
Very young. Yeah. So I think he finished. My father's is sponsored him to school. My elder sister, she went to school, but later I think she dropped out or so. So there was that accusation that, because my mom was there, she wasn't. So I had to ask him. So he now explained everything. I also have a younger sister who was also for my dad too. And I think she also had the same issue. The issue whereby the mother needed her. You get me? But my dad said he wanted her. So that, that issue came up again. So it was more or less like my mom's children. But, we had nowhere to go to. Yeah.
So it was that dad that
Yeah.
wanted all his children,
All his children
Together.
together, one place, yes. So, but each woman wanted
Their children.
their children, yeah. So that was the major issue about our upbringing. But I think my elder ones, they did well. They tried as much as possible to. Because when I was in Port Harcourt during my secondary school, my eldest brother was always there. Even my elder sister too was there. If I needed something, as children then now, even if your dad still sends you money, you still run to them, whatever it is there, they did their best. But I think,
Yes, now that's the joy.
so, but I think after time, we had an issue with my dad. And I think issues started coming up. So I think it's quite a long story. So later on, everyone just, everybody just started going, yes, everyone started going their ways. But that wasn't the plan of my dad because my dad wanted all of us to, together. Yes. So that was what they happened. Well, also concerning the upbringing, there's always that difference between when it's your mom and when it's
not.
your relative. Yeah, there is that difference. Although I've heard ladies talking about, or ladies and guys talking about how their mom raised them up as if they were on their parents, their mom, their dad. I've heard that a lot. So it's brought a lot of confusion in a sense that there is that detachment. If I want to use myself, I'm never going to join anything force. I love DSS, I love NIA, Nigerian intelligence. I love anything intelligence, But one of the reasons why I said I wasn't going to join anything, the force, was because I I I did not want that transfer. I wanted to be with my kids all the time. So that was why just anything military, anything that was going to involve transfer. Yes, that's what I was never going to do. Yeah, keep me from family. Yes. So that was one. So whenever I saw, even when I was in GS2, then I had the opportunity of going to the Nigerian military school. Then it was just there in my mind. I just want to join the military. I don't want to go anywhere. Let me just do my FGC and rest. All these elements. And though my two younger brothers joined the army, but later they left, through NMS. But I just wanted that family. I wanted family. Family was there. Right from when I was little, I just made up my mind because I saw a lot of things I never liked. My dad wasn't there. And it affected me a lot because even as one who is grown, married, I think it took my wife a lot of effort to make me understand that, look, you're a man, because there are certain things I didn't see, you understand, as a child growing up. There are certain decisions I couldn't take, but I had to start learning a lot of things as a husband, as a father, when I was married. Yeah, I started learning a lot of things then. So the upbringing was kind of, why I said so was because I never understood certain things that happened to me as a child until I started asking God questions.
Okay, let's take that first.
Okay. Yeah.
Now that you've mentioned the fact that you started asking God questions,
Yeah.
walk us through your journey meeting God, your encounter.
Okay. Yes. I was in school. I think that's where I met my wife. Then just among the big boys in school. Then. So I was, although my, let me say, it wasn't just that, it was a journey.
Mm.
Journey in the sense that I could remember then when I was in primary school, there was this my neighbor. She would just gather all the children for her. She was deeper life. My mom was deeper life. So she would gather everyone in our own house. And why we love going there to for the house fellowship, Muslim, Christian, we just gather there was because the house fellowship was from 5 to 6, right? Then there's this Yoruba drama we normally watch, Fade Yi or something like that. Yeah. So that house, the father and the mother liked watching that. I get me. But the lady was born again, though she's late now. I'm trying to remember her name, Auntie something. I can't remember her name now. So she will now tell us to come for house fellowship. So we will go for house fellowship with the aim of watching Fade. You understand? Now she could not tell us not to watch because she was staying under her parents. So we will watch that. I mean, we will attend the house fellowship. Then we will watch, as kids now. We were just enjoying the power move, just enjoying everything there. So why I said the process is because I believe the seed was somewhere.
Yeah.
Then my mom would take us to, I think, Bagada. Then she was in her life. So we just go with her, come back, just like that. So I think gradually one started tilting towards that direction. And that's why I always encourage parents, whether your child is 1 year, just take them to church. Just take them. So it kept on like that. Then my mom now moved to another church, I think Divine Healing, yes. So we didn't have a choice. We had to go to church. Then, as an unbeliever, then you just go to church grudgingly.
It's a church goer.
Yeah, as a church goer. Because you know that if my mom reports to my dad, then you know that you go hear him. So it started like that. So I started picking up certain things. And so then I'll now say, okay, I will not do this thing because I know when I'm born again, I don't want to do restitution. I get it. So I started making some decisions because all of a sudden I just felt I know one day I'll be born again. So I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So gradually till I went to school, when I go to school, you then just moving. And then that was when I met my wife. I think, how did I even meet her then? Okay. Well, we are playing football, so they needed students who are not from Akwa Ibom. So they normally called us, I think we are looking for students from the Niger Delta states, right? Because the Yoruba students were there, the Igbo students were there, yes. So they needed students from who are not Yorubas, who are not from Akwa Ibom state, because Akwa Ibom was a local government because we were much. So, and a friend of mine was from Cross River, Patrick. So I now went to me. I say, guy, if we're looking for money, we want to do some things for those of us who they call us other states and the other nations. I can't really remember.
Minorities.
Yeah, something like that. So, and I met her. So the guy now said, she's from Edo State too. I just greet her, blah, 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 just talking. Then he now said, that she's also living in Lagos. I said, I'm in Lagos. I said, so where do you stay in Lagos? He said, she's staying in Festac. I said, my area too. But just fashion. Since she was born again, I just, okay, now later now, like that. And gradually, she said, why don't you come to fellowship? Big boys don't go to fellowship. Yes. I said, let me just
go.
Let me just go. So she kept on preaching like that. Then I think they now said, okay, we are having a break. I'll not forget that break. I think that day was June 24th, right? 1999. So we are going for a break. So she now
Transport.
said,
1999.
I'm
So-
somewhere around.
so she now said, why don't you attend fellowship before you go to town? Because normally my elder sister was in youth then. So I was staying at her place. Now I was staying in school, then weekend I go to her place. And I said, okay. So, and they were having a crusade that night in school. So she now said, why don't you attend the fellowship night first? Then attend the crusade before you go to town. I know the irony of it all was, I think a week to that time, I just said, let me stop. Let me stop. Was it smoking? Yes, I said, let me stop smoking then. Yes, I could remember. I said, let me stop smoking. That, let me just be drinking. So I stopped smoking. Then okay. What happened that one day, as she was preaching to me, she was perceiving the smell. So she now said, I will not be talking to you again if you are still smoking. So I said, okay. And I said, okay, no problem. So we had a meeting in one of the other local governments in Akwa Ibom State then. So I think it was Eket. Yes, Eket. Went to Eket for a meeting. So I just said, I just thought, I think after this meeting, no more smoking. So, I think it was not quite long. I think within that same week or the following week, if I'm not mistaken. So she not come for fellowship. After the fellowship, attend the crusade. Then after the crusade, you can now go to your sister's place. I said, fine. And I just went for the fellowship. I think after the fellowship, one guy just came and said, thank God you are still alive. I said, I wanted to talk to you.
Wow.
I just said, thank God you are still alive. I still have not been hearing, thank God you are still alive. That I just broke down. So I now saw her. If I was now looking for her. I was now asking her friends, please, do you see Joy? Where is she? So we now saw. And I said, look, I want to be born again.
Wow.
But and that day, she now said, okay, let's go for the what they call it, the crusade. We are finished. So the fellowship, So now the crusade, because the crusade was a night vigil.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I just wanted was when we go for the vigil, let the preacher say, if you want to give you, that was the only time. That was the only thing I just made me go for altar call. Let me just. The funny enough, the preacher never said anything. To her now told her, since preacher no talk, altar call now.
You had the intention.
Yeah,
already.
I had intention already. So, and that was how it came up, and since then, it has been the best decision ever. So it's changed so many things about me. Changed my thought, just changed everything drastically. So even when people heard that I was born again, to some of them it was like,
The guy where we know.
It's the big boy.
it was so bad that one of my friends said, when I went to Lagos, one of my friends said, Lion, no vex, help me light this cigar. I know say you're born again. I get it. And I said, no. I said, guys, I said, I'm not fit. I said, I don't pass that level. So today, many of my friends, even till date, some of them are still skeptical about it.
How did you get into smoking and drinking?
Well, like I said, the effect of my dad and my mom not being present. Yes.
The conversations you'd have had.
Though my mom tried, because I know most times she would just say, don't do this, don't follow bad friends, don't do this, don't do that. She tried, but when I got to secondary school, now why I was saying that was because I had low self-esteem. I had insecurity. Now, low self-esteem, insecurity, those were built from the home. Because my elder ones and those who were around, there was always that, especially when one has a sibling. I get it now. So there is that comparison between the first and the second. And what that does is it diminishes the self-esteem of the first. Yeah. So
Especially when it seemingly looks like the younger one
is doing better.
Better.
Yes. So the younger doing better. And especially when they are same sex. So by the time I got to secondary school, all I just wanted was to be among, because the people who they were celebrating then in secondary school, they are the bad boys. The guys who are smoking, carrying ladies, drinking, we are the ones who they were celebrating. So by default, I also wanted to be celebrated.
Oh,
There was validation.
Yeah, there was no validation from home. I needed validation too. So I started smoking. Alcohol guys. Smoke. One of my friends told me then, he told me, I think 5 years ago, he said, Layo, you were introduced us to smoking.
don't leave us go.
Don't leave us go. Yeah, he said it bluntly. He told me bluntly. He said, you won't lead us into this thing. You don't leave us.
Salvation is personal.
So, and funny enough, many of them still smoke, still drink to date, And I can't take the blame for that.
No, it can't.
Yeah, I can't take the blame for that. Okay, everybody they can make their choices, they can make their decisions, yes. So that was how it started, that validation. And I became cruel in school. Yes, because since it is people who are cruel, who do certain things in school that are being validated, I also began to be cruel in school. In fact, I was so cruel that when I went to Oshogo, a friend of mine was there. His father was there. I think father was the director of DSS Ocean State. So I was able to go to Ocean Poly. Yes. So it was through him. So he has through that my friend. So sometimes we just go out to town, look for girls and things like that. So there was one day he was not discussing with a lady, to myself as a younger brother there. So the lady attended FGGC. I can't remember which of the FGGC she attended. So, and there's that connection. Once you attend FGGC, there was always that connection. Oh, Unity schools, yes, there's always that pride. And, so he was now talking with her. So they are now like, oh, so he now said, I attend FGC Port Harcourt. I attend FGC, which set? I said 96. See, my brother was in that school, but ran away. So the guy was now laughing.
Yes,
I asked, how your brother? So I said, there's this guy, senior Inilayo. Say, because of him, my brother said he wasn't going to school again. Say, if it's FGC Port Harcourt. And the guy was just laughing. He was just laughing. I was now wondering, why is this guy laughing? Yeah, is it that the gist with the girl was so intimate that that kind of a thing? The guy now said, Lion, come. I not carry my head around there. He now said, this is the senior lion. The guy just looked at me. And funny enough, my face doesn't look that. And since I wasn't born again, I could not apologize. So the guy now said, it's normal. You went to FGGC, it is not so. The guy just spoke like that. And, it's got me thinking, even at that level, that cruelty, that one not being in the sight of God has, especially when the parents might be there, but are not, maybe due to ignorance or certain things, they couldn't do certain things, So I had the encounters were so much, a lot of parents. In fact, there was a military man, it was a major, he had to come to school because his son to say the same thing. He came to school, now to a guy, wrong, come off of school. Say one major they find you. So I go see the man, say nothing go happen. So when I went to meet the man, do you know what the man did? He just handed over his son to me. I said, please take care of my son for me. You understand?
Is that discipline?
No. What the father did was, because the son was in SS2, SS1 or 2, I can't remember. But the father felt that he can't take away the son at that time.
Okay.
So he felt the son now needed protection.
Oh, okay.
So the protection the son needs is to hand over the son to me.
Okay, yes.
I get it now.
More like wisdom.
So what that now did was, my friend now said, oh, this guy is, then they used to call me, yes, they used to call me Echo King. Later they now called me the Lord.
Hey.
It's like this kinship thing.
It's been a long time. So they now say this guy is Za. And so, they say this is our Lord's son. So, if I had a school son then, it was in JS1, but it was still in the senior boys hostel. You understand? So it could not be touched. So, but immediately I left school. He became a day student till he graduated. Because I told them he was my younger brother.
Okay. You set the guy up.
You understand? Unintentionally. Said my younger brother. So he could go anywhere he wanted to go to. He could do anything he wanted to do in school. He just had that badge. And this is Lion's younger brother.
Okay.
You understand? So even till date, people still believe it's my younger brother.
Wow.
You understand? So no, I said my cousin, yes.
Okay.
They believe my cousin. Till date, they believe my cousin. So that was how I was at school. But it all boiled down to parents not giving the right validation to their children. Now, I was so bad even in the house that, my mom would like, this, my dad would like this. But over time, when I started reminiscing, looking back, I now realized that I think I now know where the problem came from. And I made up my mind that I won't transfer that to my children.
Yeah.
You understand? And that is why I take out time to validate my children. Take out time to tell them how good they are, how intelligent they are. I always tell them, and I learned something from my wife. My wife always tell them, don't take your sense of significance from anything.
Right.
So I always tell my children that. My son likes keeping his hair. So I now told him, I said, son, this hair you're keeping, please bring it out. I want you to take your sense of significance from who you are in God, not from anybody. So that's how it had been, and it's still a journey. It's still a journey. We are not there yet, because there are still certain things about my past I'm still trying to work on to ensure that I don't repeat them, to ensure that I don't transfer them to my children. I could remember there was a particular, although we'll talk about parenting later, right? Yeah, but let me just bring, I could remember there was a particular day I think I was disciplining my son, and I just held within me, this is not you. This is not you. So I stopped. I told him to go. I said, this is not me. This is not me. I said, I'm not violent. I'm not full of rage. This is not my character. Where did this come from? So immediately I asked myself that question again. I remember an exact scene. My father did that to me. So now I said, that implies that I was not the one disciplining him at
Yeah.
that time. It was my dad that was doing that.
So it's safe to say how these things, experiences, kind of have a whole
Yes.
Hold,
power
yes,
over
power,
you.
yes.
Yes.
You do not even know
You
how.
don't
Even
know.
if you hate
Yes,
it.
Yes, even if you hate it, yes. And I think when we're talking about parenting, and one thing I've come to realize actually about parenting is that a lot of people raise their children not themselves.
Yeah.
They raise their children based on the spirit of either their father, their grandfather, or their great grandfather. So when they're now trying to raise up that child, there's always the resistance from the child. Your child will love you no matter how bad you treat that child.
Yes.
But there is something you are destroying the child's self-esteem. Because every generation has a way of raising up a child.
Child. Yes, sir.
You cannot use your grandfather's way of raising you through your father to raise up your child. There will always be that resistance.
There's going back to self-esteem.
Yeah.
I think there's this significant incident that happened in your life that crushed your self-esteem. I think it happened. It persisted for a while. I think I don't remember one of our conversations you mentioned it. Or like you can remember it, go back to it for the sake of those listening.
Okay, yeah, I think that was I think it was when I'm trying to still remember it clearly. I think it was when I actually said it, where I said that
Comparing you with your
comparing my younger one. Yes.
something that was said to you.
Yeah, okay, yes. That's okay. Like I said when I said earlier, I said being raised by my aunt, there's that expectation, and a lot of parents make that mistake, whereby you assume that the first child should always be good. There's always that assumption that the first child should always be better than the second.
rest.
But what we have always realized is that because of that attention, that shift of attention from the first child to the second child, especially when the first child has not gone to a certain age. I was reading a book, and that book now opened my eyes. So a deeper life book. I'm looking for that Christian Mirror, is it Christian Woman? I'm looking for that particular edition. Where they said, so in that edition, and also a lot of them, where they said, if a child is 3 years old, that child needs the same attention as a newborn baby. So, if you shift that attention away from that child to the newborn baby, you're going to raise a problem.
Wow.
Especially when you tell that child, this your ball, give it to your younger brother. Wherever you deny that child, even as adults, if you tell me, this is my ball, and you tell me, give it to your brother, by force, not seeking my permission, not trying to make me understand
Why you should share.
why I should share. But tell them that because you are the firstborn, you must share. You have to share.
We make
Yeah,
that
that's
mistake a lot.
true.
We make that mistake a lot. And what that does is it reduces that child, because the child will like, I don't have a say.
More like you were giving birth for that one.
Yes, thank you. I don't have a say. So so as a little child, I kept on hearing that. I kept on hearing that. So it now looked like they say, a river looks for the slightest way to move around. So what that did was to pull back. Now what that did to me was that I couldn't ride bicycle.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, I said it.
Yes.
I couldn't ride bicycle. I couldn't speak Yoruba. So anything I did that will make people laugh at me, I just pull back. So you now see where the issue of validation came
Yes, sir.
from. Because if I try to do what my friends will laugh at me at, because I know they will laugh at me, I will go back. But what I know that if I do, people will celebrate me, then I'll
You
do
want
it.
to do it.
Do you get that?
That's-
So those things play, and I don't blame my elder ones or my aunts who raised us. I
They
don't
didn't know
blame
better.
because they didn't know better. And I can't blame my mom because she did her best. In all honesty, my mom is the best mom you can think of. I get
I will
it.
give it to her because raising 10
Ten-
kids.
You know, so
Thank
she did a lot, and she had to go to school at the same time.
Wow.
So most of the time, she was not around. I get it. During the holidays, that's when she goes for her own school. I get me. She did a sandwich program. So she goes for her school. So during the holidays, we are now with.
When you're around, she's not around.
She's not around. I get it now. So, and there are a lot of things I was exposed to. I was exposed to pornography at a very tender age. When I'm very, very tender age, maybe 3, 4.
What?
Yes. Because of that assumption, I didn't know anything. Yeah.
That thing is very wrong.
And it's had a very strong hold on me. So a lot of things went on. So I just kept on living life like that. So when my dad, I think when I was around 9 years old, when my dad was in worry, my dad was somebody, and that was why I missed. That's why I said I missed my childhood with my dad. I missed it because at a certain time, my dad was now buying books for me to read. So later on in life, I started to understand that if my dad was around, I would have loved reading books. I read books, but it's not it's not passionate. I'm not passionate about it. Yes, I'm not passionate about it.
Just a necessity.
Just a
Yeah, to
necessity.
do it.
Once maybe I'm just bored, I just get a book and read. So I miss that aspect. So when my father started buying pace setters, those are pace setters, we buy a lot of books for me to read. My dad would force me to read the books, I would just read small. He would just ask me, I'll turn to the back of the book, get the summary of the book, or just glance through the pages. I see. Funny enough, now I'm looking for those books. It was. I think I was discovered a friend of mine years back, and he's a poet. Personally, I like writing songs. When I was an unbeliever, writing songs, but I threw everything away. If I had the understanding I had now, I would have been able to keep those books. So the guy was a poet. So he wrote a poem, and I wrote another one, and I sent it to him. He said, "See how good, though." But when I now start looking back, I feel maybe my father could perceive something about me, and was giving me such kind of books to read. But
He couldn't really,
yes,
Communicate it.
Yes, he couldn't communicate.
Yeah, he couldn't communicate it. He would just say, read. So, and that was how it was. So, I'm even going for a poetry class very soon.
Correct.
Yes.
You never stop learning.
Yeah.
So, then the other aspect of it was that I was as a little child, when my father buys wristwatches, I'll just open the wristwatch. That kind of a thing. Iron and things like that, it will beat me because I'll just open it and I'll forget, okay, where it's meant to be. But later on, my dad now said, if he had known, he would have encouraged me then. So, that disconnect from childhood. And it was later on towards when he was about to leave, when I started connecting. I know it's something that hurts me so much.
Yeah.
So I believe that if parents want their children to come out the best, connect right from time. Connect right from time. Don't assume children don't know anything. Children know a lot. My children went to a church one recently. They invited and they went. They came back home. They started opening scriptures. and we are discussing with myself and wife. Daddy, this person said this, but this is what the Bible said.
Mm.
This person, but this is what the Bible said. This is what the Bible, and all four of them. I get them. So I sat down and said, truly, when God says He will teach them,
Yeah.
He will teach them.
Yes.
We just have to play
parts.
our own role. Yeah, that's simple as that.
Right.
So my upbringing was a good one. Yeah, though it had some commas and other things. Yes. But what I want to thank God for salvation is that you cannot, except I tell you,
Yeah.
Yes.
you can't, there's no connection.
There's no connection.
That's
You
the
don't
beauty
look
of
it up
salvation.
at all.
You can't, there is no way you can connect it. So you mean, most time I tell people that I'm an introvert. Most time they look at me and say, how come? Yeah. Is it that I don't understand the meaning? But salvation has done a lot. And not just that, it's paying attention to certain things. Whereby certain things happen and you sit down and ask yourself, why did this thing happen?
Very important.
Okay, what am I meant to do
To do.
next?
Right.
Something has happened. I'm meant to take a decision. What kind of decision am I meant to take? Something goes wrong. What do I do as a believer? So salvation has helped me to realize that my past has played a role in my life.
Yeah.
And I have to be intentional about looking at my past. The other day I was praying and I heard, forget about your past, but deal with it. I told someone said that's a difficult statement.
We always try to suppress.
Yes, we try to suppress our
Confront
past.
those
We don't
things.
confront. We need to confront our past. The reason is because whatever has happened, you see, Reverend Kola will say something. He says, what makes a man is his nature, his nurture, and his culture. He said those three things make a man. So, and he said, when Jesus said, I'm trying to remember what this particular statement Jesus said, and he brought it up. And Reverend Kola now said, the reason why, say, why do you call me Lord, 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 and you do the things which I say you should not do? Yes, you should. Yeah, that's the statement. He now said, Reverend Kola now said, our response is because what has been in us before we made you Lord is full in us. I get me. So we need to sit down, ask ourselves question, what is my nature? I'm an introvert. Okay, because I'm an introvert, doesn't mean I shouldn't relate with people. Does it mean I should keep myself in a box? Does it mean when people offend me, I should just
Withdraw.
withdraw? What is my culture? What do I believe in? Do I believe men are promiscuous? Do I believe a woman
Is an object.
is an object or a woman has a fish brain? Do I believe? You see, there are certain things that we take in and we do not know.
Why?
I made a statement to my wife and she said, my wife is someone that my wife takes words very serious. So you can't tell her a word in passing. She will take it. Then one day she will say, you made a statement. So even if you say you are joking, she'll say no, because she reads a lot of meaning to words. So I was telling her something somebody said. So I was now telling the person that now I'm just trying to discharge the person. Listen, I'm trying to discharge the person. They talk with yours, and I said, women now.
Ah.
So I was not telling my wife what happened. And I said, and I just told him, women are just to discharge. She was just looking at me. You know women now. So I had to sit down I said, after the conversation, I had to sit down and ask myself, women, where did it come from? Why did I make that statement? You understand? So then we look at the environment. Our culture or nurture. Yes, nurture. Yes, nurture. Yes, nurture. How were you raised up? So when I look at the way I was raised up as a child and certain things, I now realize that even till now, there are certain things I want to do and I still struggle to do them. Sometimes I have to speak in tongues for a long time. I have to pray, before I'll be able to do what is right. Which, if maybe I had a different upbringing, it would have just been as easy.
Default.
Yeah, by default. You understand? So, those are the things that, as believers, we need to look at and know why we do certain things. Know why we do know why we take certain decisions. I could remember when I think my first son did something. And I said, in fact, you're not going to school this year. I'll tell you something. So after everything, my wife now said, please, let him go to school. I was angry. So, and I told her, I said, because of your mother, you're going to school this year. If not, you'd have waited till next year. I said, after I'm not up to 18. So, I was just talking.
What's the rush?
So, she now said no. She now told me that, I prayed that none of our children will write in the exam twice. I said, none of them. In our days, before you get admission,
Jam.
you write jam.
Jam booklets.
You could jam booklet like this.
My sister have that, like.
If you don't score 250, then you know that you're not.
University is not for you.
It's not for you. Or if at all it is for you, maybe you are going to study French, psychology, sociology is even better. It's better. You just open. You just open the jam broke you. Then you will now advise yourself.
You have a meeting with yourself.
You now advise yourself. You now
Get
look for.
ready.
You now look for the courses that
Suits your score. And it's not like the score is bad.
I know that score is bad.
Not like it's bad.
Or you now write poly jam, and you now score 150.
Oh.
Even state polytechnic, you will not get. Even college of education, you will not enter. But now they are telling us jam with 160.
Yes, there are some courses you can take
You can
in the
go.
university.
Yes. With 100 polytechnic is here.
100.
Yes, I'm telling you now, as at now.
What will you study?
100. And you study a good course. Now the standard has come down. Yeah. So when she told me that, and I said, okay, there's no problem. Let him go to school. You understand? So she wanted to break a pattern. You understand? So when my first daughter wrote and she scored 188, she was crying. So I now called her. I said, you know what? With 188, you get it. And you get your course. I know what happened. When the school brought out the course was 180.
Wow.
And she came first batch.
My God.
So it was something that made me to understand that most time, if we are not careful, there are certain patterns.
We sabotage ourselves.
Yes,
and
we'll just take to the next year. So that's what happened, and I want to thank her for her sensitivity. She has always been sensitive, So that not to make wrong decisions. She just like, no, let us do this thing like this. Let's do this. So that is how it has been.
Give her flowers.
So that's how it has been. So, like we're talking about nature, nurture, culture. It has played a lot in my life, and every time once I'm about to go left, I go back to the world. think, where is this thought pattern coming from? Where's this decision coming from?
So it is very important to sit with yourself.
Yes, very,
Pay
very
attention to
important.
what you're
Yes.
Yes.
thinking.
Very, very important. You know, people just say things.
And do
One of the
things.
things I've learned over time is to check the words I speak. You know, a lot of time people don't do that. And, you know, and we have a lot of ladies out there that are in real trouble. You know, I told somebody, I was discussing with some people. I was with a friend, his wife, and one other lady was there. And I said, let me tell you something. Nowadays, it's very easy to commit adultery.
Mm.
And they looked at me. I said, the reason is because we have a lot of ladies out there that are broken, low self-esteem. And one thing I don't do, if I'm relating with a lady, maybe we're talking, one thing I vowed to myself is never to speak evil about my wife. You know, a lot of men make that mistake. But what they don't know is that because of the kind of movies, especially seasonal movies that are out there, 99% of them promote extramarital affairs.
Yes.
And what they mostly promote is married men having affairs with single ladies or married women having affairs with single men.
guys.
Now, what that does is if a man is relating with a lady and is always talking about the wrong the wife has done, what that does is that if that lady watches such kind of, that's why in my house I don't allow them watch anything seasonal except it's maybe their education, but anything
you are
seasonal.
there
Even
to
I
help
don't
them.
watch anything seasonal, especially when it comes to romance. Yeah, what it does is by default, because what we don't know is, why I'm bringing it happened to me one time. What we don't know is, because I asked God a particular question one time, and I said, Father, I'm married, and why am I tilting towards this person? And he said, second chance. There was one movie I was, come on, one series.
Second chance.
Second chance.
Yes, I remember
yeah,
that
I love
movie.
the movie.
One
Not that movie.
Mexican.
One, thank you, Mexican.
Mexican
Yes.
AIT.
Yes, thank you, AIT.
Yes.
Now, because we subconsciously permit
Those things.
those things in the sense that, yes, it's good for the man, or it's good for the woman. They are not meant to marry before. And because the man is not treating the woman well, or the woman is not treating the man well, yes, it is good. It is good for them to do it with this person. So subconsciously, we have permitted it. So when we don't pay close attention to ourselves, are you getting me? So when such a man now comes, and whether it's true, whether a man is saying the truth, whether it's not saying the truth, and not telling you, oh, my wife did this, my wife did that, subconsciously somewhere in your mind starts making you feel you are the savior in quotes. Are you getting me? So what now happens? Now, I'm not saying it happens in all situations, but what now happens is whereby that lady has insecurity or low self-esteem, she now gradually, or the guy now gradually starts buying into that. You understand? And if God doesn't intervene, it becomes something else. So those are the things that as believers, we need to check ourselves. But I said there are certain, because I knew as a little child and as a grown-up, I knew that I was exposed to pornography. So there are certain movies I don't watch. There are certain things I don't pay attention to.
Guarding your heart.
Yes, guarding your diligence. Yeah, there are certain things I don't do. There are certain places I don't go. You understand? So that just to protect myself
So,
and make sure I don't open up the door to the enemy.
Yes, sir.
You understand? So those are the things that our upbringing plays a major role. The people we interact with, I always tell my children, the Bible says he who walks with the wise is wise. If you walk with people who speak about immorality, whether you like it or not, to get there. You may not do it, but
in your mind.
yes, it's in your
Already.
mind.
Someone.
it's in your
Right?
mind,
It's in your
yes.
mind already. It's there. So
Subconsciously.
when the opportunity comes, if the mercy of God doesn't intervene, you're gone.
Yes.
You understand? So like I tell my daughters, I said, relate with guys. I don't tell them not relate with guys. Relate with guys. Like my daughter going to school, I say, go to school, talk to your classmates. I said, but you know what? I'm your father. If I don't tell you the truth, I've lied to you. You're a beautiful young girl. Guys will ask you out.
I'm laughing.
That's what I tell my daughters.
I'm laughing because of something Reverend Femi said one time. He said he validates his children so much so that when someone says something sweet to them outside, it doesn't move them.
move them,
So
yeah.
like there was a brother in church one time, they were younger at the time, and really, so do you know you're so beautiful? Yes. How do you know? My dad tells me every day.
It's
You
nothing
understand? So
special
there's nothing
coming
special,
from you.
Yeah. So how do I tell my girl? I say, don't allow anything bother you. They will ask you. But you know what? Have your boundaries. Talk with them in class. Just with them. Have your boundaries. See, but the mistake a lot of parents do is don't talk with them.
They see you underwear.
You're pregnant.
No, I tell them that. I tell them, you know what? Sex is good. I tell my children, sweet, enjoyable, but you know what? Marriage. Not outside marriage. Marriage. You see, the reason is because if we don't tell them these things,
Yeah, they will tell them outside.
Yes.
if we don't educate them, other people will do it. So we have to tell them as it is. Even I tell my son, tell him, when you go to school, relate with ladies. Just with them. Ask them their name. Tell them they look good. However.
Boundaries. Wow. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you.
I have learned a lot.
Honestly.
Nurture, culture,
Nature.
Nature.
Yes. So let's learn to sit with ourselves.
Be honest with ourselves.
Yes. Don't forget your past, but deal with it.
Yeah.
So let's pick these points that we have heard. Thank you very much for staying up until this time. I believe that we have learned. Thank you so much, sir, once again.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Before we go, if you've not subscribed to this channel, let me be nice. Subscribe. Please do so. All right. Thank you so much. See you on our next episode.
God
Bye.
bless you. Bye.